Monsieur Farage, merci de répondre à nos questions pour TV Liberté. Nous sommes à Strasbourg au Parlement européen. Le vote du Brexit a eu lieu il y a un an et depuis vous avez renoncé à la présidence du UKIP. Donc la première question que j'ai envie de vous poser, c'est comment allez-vous et quoi de neuf avec Nigel Farage?
Well, look, I mean, Brexit, 23rd of June 2016, for me and for millions of British people, a joyous day, a day we beat the establishment. I took the view that I'd been campaigning for this for 25 years. There was little more that I could do, and I was happy to step back from the front line of domestic politics. I haven't stepped away from here. I'm still here in Strasbourg. I'm still leading a group in the European Parliament. It's here that the Brexit negotiations will take place, and I'm going to be here right to the end of the process, hopefully making sure that we get the kind of Brexit that we voted for. So, look, you know, I could say to you that I was frustrated that it took the government 9 months to trigger Article 50. But you know what? Overall, a year on, I'm happy that Brexit is happening and just very pleased with things.
Avant de reparler du Brexit, j'aurais aimé vous poser une question un peu plus sur les événements tragiques qui se produisent actuellement au Royaume-Uni, en particulier avec cette vague d'attentats terroristes qu'il y a eu. Quel regard portez-vous dessus?
We'd rather taken the view that, unlike France, unlike perhaps Belgium, that we had intelligence services that were on top of this problem. I think to some extent we even felt slightly complacent about this because we've been told that 13 major terrorist attacks had been stopped. We've had 3 very bad incidents, and we now have the news, which I think has stunned all of us, that there are now 23,000 people on police lists in the United Kingdom who are either suspected terrorists or who have links to suspected terrorists. It is an absolutely horrifying figure, and I think, frankly, not just us, yours as well, all of our governments bear a very, very heavy responsibility for what they've done to our societies.
Retour au Brexit, il y a beaucoup d'observateurs étrangers notamment qui affirment qu'en particulier depuis les élections générales convoquées par Madame May, le Royaume-Uni est dans une position de relative faiblesse pour négocier sa sortie de l'Union européenne. Et il y en a même qui pensent que l'Angleterre sera bientôt à genoux. Est-ce que vous pensez que c'est le cas?
Yeah, Mr. Juncker. I spoke to Mr. Juncker after the British general election. He said, we won that one. No, Mr. Juncker, you didn't win that one. Do you know something really interesting? Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the Labour Party, last week sacked 3 of his front bench spokesmen because they voted for Britain to stay in the single market. So even the leadership of the Labour Party is now saying Brexit must happen. 85% of voters in the general election backed Brexit parties, and whilst Mrs May personally had a very bad election, there is still a majority for her in the House of Commons. If I was worried on the day of the general election, I'm much less worried now. You know, the status quo in life is a funny thing, and there was a status quo in favour of us remaining in the European Union, and people like me had to battle for years against that status quo. There is now a settled status quo in the United Kingdom for us leaving.
L'ancien président tchèque, M. Klaus, vient d'appeler officiellement à la sortie de la République tchèque, donc de son pays, de l'Union européenne, parce qu'il refuse le chantage par rapport aux quotas de migrants. Est-ce que vous pensez que la sortie du Royaume-Uni de l'Union européenne va renforcer le fédéralisme européen ou va au contraire contribuer à l'explosion de l'Union?
Brexit is the beginning of the end. And the only people that think that the EU will be stronger because of Brexit are the people who work here and are paid by the European Union. You know, right across Europe, there are tens of millions of people who look at what the Brits have done with Brexit and say, congratulations, well done you, you've stood up for yourselves. None of these problems are going away, you know. The Eurozone, what it's done to the Mediterranean, the migrant crisis, and by the way, the numbers coming into Italy right now are running at record numbers, and no one knows what to do about it, apart from continue to encourage people to set foot on European soil. No, I think this problem, this project, the contradictions that are inherent within it, I don't believe that the European Union will be here in 10 years in its current structure, and I think Europe would be a much better place if it was a Europe of payee. In fact, General de Gaulle, used to talk about this sort of thing back in the 1960s.
Alors en attendant la fin de l'Union européenne, pour l'instant la France vient d'élire un président qui est très européiste, M. Macron. Quel regard portez-vous justement sur l'élection française qui vient d'avoir lieu et sur le nouveau président?
Well, I mean, extraordinary turn of events. That there's this reinvention of politicians on the left and politicians on the right into this new sort of so-called centrist party behind Macron. He's been phenomenally successful. But everything he promises is totally unachievable. When he talks about reform and change, what he's actually talking about is more centralisation of the European Union structures. And I would remind people, you know, of the record low turnouts, of the number of spoiled ballot papers that took place over your elections in the last few months. Don't forget, nearly 47% of the French electorate in the first round of the presidential elections voted for strongly Eurosceptic candidates. That of itself would have been unthinkable 10 or 20 years ago. So, yeah, Macron won. Here they're all cheering. It won't last long.
Question plus personnelle, vous êtes député européen depuis presque 20 ans, depuis 1999. Dans 2 ans, vous allez quitter cette maison. Si tout va bien, normalement, il n'y aura plus de député européen du Royaume-Uni. Qu'est-ce que vous allez faire? Vous serez au chômage?
Oh, listen, unlike almost everybody in this place, I had a proper job before I came into politics. I worked in the private sector for 20 years. I came into politics not for a career. I came into politics because I wanted to change things. And provided we get the Brexit that we want, there are lots and lots of things I can do. Will I miss the European Parliament? Well, I'll miss some of the big exchanges that I've had with Mr. Van Rompuy and Mr. Juncker and that.
And I don't want to be rude, but you know, really, you have the charisma of a damp rag and the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk. And the question that I want to ask, that we're all going to ask is, who are you? I'd never heard of you. Nobody in Europe had ever heard of you. I would like to ask you, President, who voted for you? And what mechanism? Oh, I know democracy is not popular with you lot. And what mechanism do the peoples of Europe have to remove you? Is this European democracy? Well, I sense, though, that you're competent and capable and dangerous. And I have no doubt that it's your intention to be the quiet assassin of European democracy and of the European nation states. You appear to have a loathing for the very concept of the existence of nation states. Perhaps that's because you come from Belgium, which of course is pretty much a non-country. We don't know you, we don't want you, and the sooner you're put out to grass, the better. Mr Verhofstadt, I know that by heckling you increase your hits on YouTube, because otherwise nobody in Europe wants to listen to you, and the President really ought to let me speak. We went to war in Iraq, being told that Saddam had weapons of... Why don't you shut up and listen for a change? You really must be the vilest, rudest man in European politics. And you rant on, and the chair lets you get away with it because you're the former Prime Minister of Belgium. We can do all of these things without a European Commission, without a European Parliament and without a European Court of Justice. Yes, it'll mean you'll lose your job, Mr Barroso, but apart from that, why can't we do things as mature democracies? Yes, I want you sacked, Mr Schulz, as well. I want you all fired.
I'm really surprised that you are here. You are fighting for the exit. The British people voted in favour of the exit. Why are you here?
When I came here 17 years ago and I said that I wanted to lead a campaign to get Britain to leave the European Union, you all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you?
And the other thing I will miss is Strasbourg, because it's a beautiful city, and I have to say the Alsatian people are terrific. And I like, not this building, but I do like this city, and that I'll miss.